The clinking of crystal glasses and soft murmurs filled the grand dining hall of the Marcellus estate. Candlelight flickered across gold-plated walls, painting a scene of wealth and power, and cold perfection. But the silence that followed his words, that silence could have shattered glass. "She's with me," the man said quietly, yet his voice cut through the air like thunder. Every head turned. The billionaire heiress, Aria Marcellus, stood frozen beside the table, her diamond bracelet catching the light, her eyes wide with disbelief. Across from her stood Daniel Hayes, a man who didn't belong in that glittering world, rough hands, worn jacket, but eyes steady as stone. His 6-year-old daughter, Lily, clung to his arm, half hiding behind him. Just hours ago, Daniel had no idea who Aria Marcellus even was. He was just a single dad, fixing cars and scraping by, doing everything to keep his little girl's world safe. Until tonight that it all started 3 months earlier. Daniel's garage sat on the edge of the city, where neon lights died into quiet streets. One rainy night, a car pulled in, a black Bentley, its front bumper dented, steam rising from the hood. The woman who stepped out was drenched but graceful, like someone who didn't know what it meant to rush for shelter. "Aria Marcellus, can you fix it tonight?" she'd asked, shivering slightly. He had glanced up, wiping grease off his hands. "I can try. But it'll cost you time, not money." Her brow had furrowed, not used to hearing time as a currency. That night, she'd waited in the small, dim office of his garage, sitting across from Lily, who was busy drawing with broken crayons. When Aria had asked to see her drawing, Lily smiled shyly. "It's me and Daddy. We don't have much, but Daddy says we're rich in love." Something in those words cracked a wall in Aria's heart, a wall built from years of cold boardrooms and loveless luxury. Over the next few weeks, she kept finding reasons to visit. A tune-up. A checkup. A question about cars she probably already knew the answers to. Daniel noticed, but never called her out. He just talked to her like she was anyone else. Not a Marcellus. Not a billionaire. Just Aria, and she liked that. For once, someone saw her, not her last name. Their bond grew quietly. She'd bring coffee for him, snacks for Lily. Sometimes she'd help sweep the floor, laughing when grease stained her perfect nails. Daniel would shake his head but smile. "You're not made for this kind of mess." "Maybe I'm tired of being perfect," she'd reply softly. Then came the night that changed everything. Daniel received a call. Lily's school was closing for budget reasons. It was the only place where she felt safe, where teachers understood her gentle heart. He was desperate, working extra hours to raise enough for her transfer to another school. Aria found out and offered to help. "Let me cover it." "It's nothing for me," she'd said, but Daniel had stiffened. "I don't want your pity." "It's not pity, Daniel, it's care," she'd insisted. "You're always helping everyone else, let someone help you for once." Their argument ended with silence. She left, tears burning her eyes. Weeks passed without a word between them. Until tonight. Aria's father, Richard Marcellus, the stern billionaire whose empire stretched across continents, had thrown a dinner to announce her engagement to Victor Lang, the son of another tycoon. She hadn't agreed, but she hadn't fought back either. Her father's expectations had always been law, but when she saw Victor's smug smile, heard him talk about her like property, something inside her broke. She excused herself and stepped out, into the rain. And standing outside the Golden Gates, holding Lily's small hand, was Daniel. "Lily wanted to see you," he said simply. "She made this for you." He handed her a folded paper, a drawing of the three of them. Aria, Daniel, and Lily, standing under a sky full of hearts. Her eyes welled. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered, voice trembling. "I had to," he said softly. "Because I realized something. You changed my life, Aria. You showed me that kindness doesn't need to wear diamonds." Before she could respond, Victor appeared, sneering. "What's this? The mechanic and his charity case?" He reached for Lily's arm, and Daniel stepped forward, his jaw tight, she's with me. That's when the silence fell over the grand hall. Richard Marcellus stood, fury flashing across his face. Who do you think you are, barging into my home and speaking to my daughter like that? Daniel met his gaze without flinching. I'm just a man who's trying to teach his daughter that courage matters more than wealth. And that people aren't born better, they choose to be. Lily tugged Aria's sleeve, her voice small but brave. Miss Aria, can we be family someday? The room froze again. Aria's father glared, but she didn't look at him. Her eyes were fixed on Daniel, on the man who had nothing yet gave everything. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she stepped toward him. Yes, Lily, she whispered. Yes, we can. Gasps filled the room. Her father's voice thundered, Aria, you're throwing away everything. She turned to him, standing taller than she ever had. Then it was never mine to begin with. That night, Aria walked out of the mansion, her hand in Daniel's, Lily smiling between them. The rain washed over them, but for the first time, it didn't feel cold. Months later, a small garage by the city edge had a new sign, Hayes and Marcellus Auto Care. Beneath it, a tiny garden bloomed, planted by Lily herself. Daniel fixed cars. Aria ran the business side, always with grease on her hands now. And Lily? She drew new pictures every day, of a family that didn't need mansions to be rich. Sometimes, customers would ask how two such different people ended up together. Daniel would smile and glance at Aria. She found me in the rain, he'd say. And I realized, love doesn't care where you come from. It only cares who's willing to stay. And Aria would look at him, her heart full, and whisper the words that had changed everything that night, she's with me.